You know, we always expect people to have common sense, right? But I have learned over the course of my 40 plus years that common sense is not common. So today I'm going to give you 10 life lessons that I just feel like should be damn common sense. So if you do not have common sense, stay tuned. I'm going to impart some common sense on you. Okay, so the first thing that I feel like is just common sense is that you can control what you feel. That's the first thing I'm letting you know. Especially if you beyond the age of 3 years old, you can control what you feel. So for those of you that are out there losing your damn minds at Walmart like you ain't had no home training, out there running folks off the road like you ain't got 2 ounces of sense because they tailgated you, cut that crap out. You are in control, whether you want to admit that or not. That's why folk go to jail for doing crazy things, because the judge know they was in control. You try to act like you Billy Badass, but really you just Billy Dumbass, because you can actually take it down a notch. You can make that decision. I often tell people too that even like happiness is a choice. People look for happiness in the wrong thing. We look for happiness in the big job or what we're going to get paid or that kind of thing, when really happiness is just something that you decided to be. If you're having a bad day, you can actually spin that thing around in your own head and decide that regardless of what's happening, that you're going to have a good day. So you can indeed control what you're feeling. The next thing is that the truth is always easier than a lie. Because, of course, we all know that once you start lying, you got to add to this, you got to remember the nonsense that you came up with, blah, blah, blah. And they say the truth will set you free. It might piss a lot of people off, but guess what? The one thing about it is people will always know that you are a person of integrity. They know that whether they like what you have to say or not, it is going to be the truth. That's one of the things I kind of dig about when people say, we dig that Kelly. We always know we going to get with her. What you going to get is the truth. And if you don't like it, that's really not my problem. It's my job to, if you will, deliver the truth as I see it. And that does not mean you got to be a dick about it. Let's be, I think that's the difference, is that people think for whatever reason that when you're telling someone the truth, you got to be harsh about it. You don't have to be harsh. You just have to be truthful. So if you are a person that says, oh, well, be honest with me, tell me the truth, and then I tell you the truth and you get mad, go back to number one where I said you can control what you feel. Don't ask me if you don't really want to know, because I'm going to tell you the truth. Number three is that failure happens. Mistakes happen. It's a part of life. It is a natural part of life. Embrace that thing. That don't mean you want to become the failure rock star, but you also need to understand, number one, that things happen in life that don't work out the way that we thought that they should, and we learn from those things. After all, I can guarantee you that your mother is going to let you know that at some point you put your hand on the stove, you put your hand on the iron, you put your hand on the flat iron, you put your hand on something hot that you ain't had no business putting your damn hands on. But guess what? You learn from that mistake. You learn from that failure that don't put your hands on hot stuff. It hurts, right? It causes blistering and burning and all kinds of nonsense. So embrace the fact that failure is not here to make you feel like an idiot. Failure is here is actually to teach you a lesson. There are mistakes that are made because they're necessary. So for those of you that are out there trying to keep your children from failing, you out there trying to act like, baseball shouldn't have scores, that everybody ought to have a trophy. You need a trophy for being a dumbass. And if you don't like what I had to say, then go back to the last one where I said, I'm going to tell you the truth. So the next common sense thing is that you're going to be treated the way you allow people to treat you. Think about that. You are going to be treated the way you allow people to treat you. You train them. You train people, sadly, like you train dogs, like you train monkeys. That's what we do. So when someone comes at you in the wrong way and you like, get at me, bro, what's up? They know. They don't push the limit, right? But as long as you're like, oh, well, I'll accept that. The more you accept, the more they're going to give you crap, right? But when you back people up and you let them know, listen, that is unacceptable behavior. I am not going to tolerate that. You could back up off me with that nonsense. Then they know where your limits are. So again, and it doesn't matter if it's in business, if it's a personal matter, whatever that case may be, a friendship, whatever that is, people are going to treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So do not let them treat you like you are a welcome mat or a garbage bag. So yes, deal with that. People will treat you the way you set them up to treat you. So train folk, man, train folk. We all know them folk that think that they don't need no help, right? And we all know that they full of crap. Because ain't nobody getting by in this world without a little help from their friends, so to speak. So the next common sense thing is that we all need a little help sometimes. And sometimes we have a difficult time realizing that or accepting that. We want to believe that we did it all alone. But when you really look back at that journey, you didn't do it all alone. You didn't get anywhere successful by yourself. So the sooner we accept that asking for help is actually a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness, that to me is just common sense. Sometimes people are going to need help, and sometimes you're going to need to ask for that help. And you need to realize that it is not a sign of weakness that you ask for that help. I had an issue with that too. I'm a little bit of a control freak. I'm like, do it my damn self. But guess what? You can't do everything on your own. Sometimes you really do need a little help to get by. So that's common sense. Keep that in mind. You ever hear of the definition of insanity? The definition of insanity says that if you keep doing the same thing that you've already, no, that's not the definition of insanity. Hold on, let's back up. Rewind. Okay, the definition of insanity is basically doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. The common sense part of that thing though is once you find that thing that actually works, then you keep repeating that over and over again so that you can keep getting that result. So repeating positive actions create positive reactions. Yeah, it's common sense, I promise. That if you find something successful, keep doing that thing over and over again. But if you find something that is bringing you harm and is not working, then stop doing that thing. There it is, common sense right there. Y'all know me trying to be a philosopher. Okay, so this next thing is common sense, but I don't always exercise it. Hey, listen, I know what common sense is. That does not mean I always practice it. So the next thing in my common sense list is to actually think before you speak. Yeah, again, I'm usually guilty of this one because unfortunately, what I've come to tell people is what comes up comes out. And so that's why I just gonna tell the truth, as I mentioned earlier. But if you are a person that has the self-control to be able to think before you speak, I've learned to get a little bit better at this as I've gotten older, and because I got really bony arms now, and if somebody try to beat me up, then I'm just gonna be messed up. So I don't talk as much nonsense as I used to. And I can talk nonsense on YouTube because you can't find me. But again, thinking before you speak is often going to be a very good thing because it will help save you a lot of heartache and probably ass whooping too. So think before you speak. Okay, so the next thing on my list of common sense is that you need to realize that life is short and life is for the living. So if you running around here not doing things that you love, not doing things that you enjoy, and you're waiting for your life to flash before your very eyes before you actually get out there, that's stupid. That ain't common sense. That ain't something you ought to be doing. So we shouldn't live for bills. We shouldn't live for bosses. We should live for a life that we will enjoy, a life that has some meaning, a life that makes us feel fulfilled. in some sort of way. And many of you, I don't know if you know my story or not, but I have an incurable disease. And unfortunately, the brand that I have causes my heart and my liver and my lungs, all kinds of nonsense to swell up on my insides. And it's not a lot of fun. So my life expectancy is probably a lot shorter than a lot of you guys. But hey, guess what? Shit happens and life goes on, right? But I tell you that story not because I need y'all crying and feeling sorry for me, because clearly I ain't crying and feeling sorry for myself. But for many people, they wait on a diagnosis like that. When I got my diagnosis, I went to my family and I could simply say to them, you know what? If you guys got to bury me real soon, just know that everybody that I didn't like, they know I ain't like their asses. Everybody that I love, they know I love them. All the travel that I wanted to do, I've done. And I'd always wanted to live abroad. And once I got my diagnosis, I moved to Thailand. And now I live abroad. So life is short. And make sure that you're getting some real value out of your life. And don't wait until somebody tells you that your body is deteriorating, or that you've got incurable disease, or God forbid that you've got cancer or something of that nature. Live your life now while you're healthy and whole, and know that things are always going to work out. So you can actually take off for 3 months, a year, whatever it is. And guess what? When you come back, that job is going to be there. That boss is going to be there. Those bills are going to be there. Yes. Life is short. Live it. Okay, so the next thing that's common sense is that you need to focus on yourself. And that does not mean be selfish and not do things for your children, or not do things for your significant others or spouses and all that. But it means that you have to take some time that really is all about you. And you got to be selfish from time to time. That don't mean go and decide you're going to be selfish for the rest of your days and stop doing what you're supposed to be doing. But you need to realize that sometimes you need a minute just to exhale and just be you. And so you've got to take yourself on a date, take yourself to the park, take yourself wherever it is that you're going to take yourself, but don't take yourself too seriously. So common sense to me is actually taking some time to focus on you. I am the mom of 2 kids, and they're now adults, but I was a single mom. And I think that I would freak out the other soccer moms, because sometimes they would see me out and they're like, oh, where are your children? I'm like, when they were born, they cut the umbilical cord. So sometimes I get to go out by myself. Some of y'all need to cut the cord, So remember to focus on yourself and take time for you, or else you're going to go insane. And that ain't fun. Well, depends on your version of insane. Yeah. But anyway, take time to focus on you. All right, so here is my last common sense cliche, but to me it's actually pretty important. Your attitude determines your altitude. Have you heard that before? So depending on what your attitude is, it could take you high or it could bring you low. So one of the things that I am known for on Facebook, sadly, is the fact that I am happily battling a crazy ass disease that could wipe me out. There's always going to be teeth showing pretty much wherever I go. I'm always going to be cracking a joke, no matter how much pain I'm in. I share video from hospital where I got oxygen on and I'm still like, hey, what's going on, y'all? So your attitude determines your altitude. I could have a really bad attitude about the situation and the things that my body is doing, but why? Because guess what? My body's still going to do those things. It's not going to change anything. So I may as well have a happy mind and build myself and bring myself here than to always focus on the pain and the hurt and the agony and all of that crap that goes with it, and then be way down here. And we all know, don't nobody want to be around them folk that be way down here. And I'm not, saying that if you've got incurable disease, or if you're battling something, that you got to be happy, happy, joy, joy. Trust me, there are days of anger and depression, and days where I'm cussing like a damn sailor around here, but the point of the matter is that overall, my attitude again, determines my altitude. And that's not necessarily for other people per se, as much as it is for your own peace of mind, for your own elevation and your own edification. So many of you go into these jobs and you're woe is me and you're pissed off about Mondays, and then you're wondering why you're not getting promoted. Because you got a shitty attitude. Stop going in there with that stank attitude. Go in there with the attitude that I'm blessed that I got a job, because a lot of people don't, and so on and so forth. And if you don't like your boss, do your job to the best of your ability and start sending out your resumes, because as I mentioned earlier, you're really the one that's in control. That too is common sense. All right, guys, so that is it. I hope you were entertained, and I hope you were educated while I was doing this. So if you have not subscribed, do that. You got control of that too. It's just common sense. It's just common sense for you to click that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel, right? All right. I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.